There's a photograph. It was taken in 2019 outside a private members club in Manhattan. The man in the photo is wearing a Tom Ford suit, Rolex on his wrist. Behind him, a black Bentley Continental GT. He's smiling. 6 months later, he'd be sitting in a studio apartment in Queens staring at his bank statement, wondering where it all went wrong. His name is irrelevant, but his story isn't. Because the thing that destroyed him wasn't bad luck. It wasn't a market crash. It wasn't even poor financial planning. It was something far more dangerous. A lie. One you probably believe too. Let's call him David. In 2018, David was making $340,000 a year, senior position at a consulting firm, good trajectory. By most metrics, he'd made it. But here's what the metrics didn't show. David was spending $380,000 a year, not on drugs, not on gambling, on maintaining the appearance of someone who made $340,000 a year. The car payment, the apartment in the right neighborhood, the restaurants where deals supposedly happened, the watch that signaled he belonged. He wasn't stupid. He knew the math didn't work. But he'd internalized something, a belief so fundamental he didn't even recognize it as a belief anymore. He thought money was the measure. Here's what I mean. We live in a world that has confused two completely different things: money and value. And that confusion is quietly destroying people. Think about it. When you meet someone at a dinner party and they say they're a lawyer, what's the first thing your brain does? It estimates their income. Instantly. When someone drives a certain car, wears a certain watch, lives in a certain zip code, we don't just observe it. We calculate it. We've turned human beings into spreadsheets. And here's the truly insidious part. We've started doing it to ourselves. David didn't wake up one day and decide to destroy his financial life. He just absorbed what the world was teaching him, that his value as a person was somehow connected to the numerical figure in his bank account. That success was a number you could point to, that the respect he wanted, the significance he craved, the proof that his life mattered, all of it could be purchased. And the truly painful part? It almost worked. People did treat him differently when he wore the Rolex. He did get taken more seriously in certain rooms. The signals did what signals do. But here's what nobody tells you about playing that game. The cost isn't just financial. Let me tell you what happened to David. The moment he couldn't afford the signals anymore, the moment the Bentley got repossessed and he moved to Queens, he expected to disappear. He thought people would stop returning his calls, that he'd become invisible. And some people did stop calling. But here's the part that broke him. The people who stopped calling were never his friends in the first place. They were audience members, and he'd spent years performing for them. Now let me tell you about someone else. Her name is Margaret. She's 61. She's worth approximately $4.3 million. You wouldn't know it. She drives a 2012 Honda Accord. She lives in a modest 3-bedroom house in a middle-class neighborhood. She's worn the same winter coat for 7 years. I know about Margaret because she's my neighbor, and I only know her net worth because of a conversation we had one afternoon, sitting on her porch. I'd asked her, somewhat impolitely in retrospect, why she didn't upgrade her life. Her answer has stayed with me. She said, "I stopped chasing more when I realized I was running from enough." See, Margaret understood something most people don't. Money isn't the thing. Money is a tool for building the thing. But somewhere along the way, we started worshiping the tool. We started believing that the hammer was more important than the house. And now we've got people with beautiful hammers and nowhere to live. The lie isn't that money doesn't matter. The lie is that money is what matters. Here's how the trap works. You're told that success looks like something, a number, a title, a zip code, so you chase it, and maybe you catch it. But the moment you do, the definition changes. Because the game isn't designed to be won. It's designed to be played. There's always another level, another benchmark, another person doing better. And the cruelest part? The people selling you this story, the influencers, the gurus, the lifestyle brands, they're not playing the same game. They're selling you the idea that you're not enough yet, and business is very, very good. So what's the alternative? David and I had coffee last month. He's doing fine now. Not great by his old standards. He makes about $90,000 a year. Small apartment. Reliable car. But here's what's different. He's not performing anymore. He told me something I won't forget. I used to think I was building wealth, but I was just building an audience for a person I wasn't. Pause. 3 seconds. That sentence is worth sitting with. The people who actually have money, real money, the kind that lasts, they're not the ones screaming about it. They're the ones who figured out that wealth isn't about the size of the number. It's about the gap between what you have and what you need. And more importantly, what you need is determined by who you're trying to impress. Margaret doesn't need more because she's not performing for anyone. David needed everything because he was performing for everyone. Here's the thing about chasing more. It's not actually about the money, it's about the feeling you think the money will give you. Safety, respect, significance, proof that you matter. But you can't buy those things because they're not for sale. They come from a completely different place. And until you understand that, you'll keep running. So here's the question you should be asking. Not, how do I make more, but what am I actually trying to build? Because if the answer is a life that looks successful, you're building a prison. But if the answer is a life that feels enough, that's something you can actually create. Remember that photograph? David still has it. He keeps it in a drawer, not as a reminder of what he lost, but as a reminder of what he escaped. The man in that photo was smiling, but he wasn't happy. He was just expensive. The lie everyone believes is that more money will solve the problem. But the problem isn't money. It's the story you're telling yourself about what money means. And that story? You can rewrite it anytime you want. If this resonated with you, a comment or a follow truly helps. It's the quiet support that gives me the motivation to keep creating.